Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Nick, aka November, coming at you one more time for my MCU Phase 4 video series. The rumor I want to talk about today, I will admit I don't have a whole lot of information on at this moment, but I wanted to talk about it because it is something that excites me. I am very much excited for the possibility of this franchise being added to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that franchise is the Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts kind of hold a little place in my heart. I actually have Thunderbolts #1, which I bought when it was originally printed, which I hope doesn't age me too much. But that book just kind of, I love that book. I will always love Thunderbolts #1. It just, the story was unlike anything I had ever read at the time. And if you've never read Thunderbolts, essentially the first issue is you spend the entire issue falling in love with these superheroes, and at the end, it's revealed that these superheroes are actually posing as superheroes and they're actually masters of evil. And the way that that book made me feel when I originally read it was unlike any comic had ever made me feel. So I think Thunderbolts and Thunderbolts #1 specifically will always have a little place in my heart. Another reason I'm actually excited for Thunderbolts being added into the Marvel Cinematic Universe is because there's such a large number of possibilities and things and directions that can be done with this property, and that is because there's been so many incarnations of the team over time. So I'm pretty much going to explain the scope of the possibilities just by going through the different incarnations of the team over time. So, as I said, originally the team was a group of masters of evil that were posing as superheroes. This had happened after a large majority of the Marvel comic heroes had disappeared. I'm not going to get into why. You'll have to read it. But so the original team was, like I said, a group of masters of evil posing as superheroes. Shortly into that story arc, some of the characters wanted to reform. Eventually, Baron Zemo, their leader, left. The team was then led by Hawkeye. A teenager named Jolt joined them. And so at that point, it was, Hawkeye leading a group of reformed supervillains who were trying to make up for past deeds. The next incarnation I'm aware of it's kind of a Suicide Squad-ish kind of thing. It's Marvel supervillains who have been incarcerated, who are working for the government. The whole thing is led by Norman Osborn. He's like the government director of the whole Thunderbolts, Suicide Squad agency. So, and that whole thing culminates into Norman Osborn actually taking over S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Thunderbolts becoming the Avengers, or in the comics they're known as the Dark Avengers, where you have characters like Bullseye posing as Hawkeye and Venom posing as Spider-Man. And I'd actually really like to see the Dark Avengers storyline brought into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so that's more or less kind of my fan pick for if they use the Thunderbolts. But the next incarnation actually, and I actually own this entire comic series, is led by the Red Hulk, aka Thunderbolt Ross, and it includes characters like Punisher, Elektra, Deadpool, and I think Agent Venom, and I might be missing one or two other people I can't think of right off the top of my head. And obviously you couldn't use Deadpool because of the whole Fox Marvel thing, but, that's kind of another cool direction that they wound up taking the Thunderbolts in. And the final incarnation that I'm aware of, they went actually back to pretty much the entire primary team, still consisting of people like Songbird, Mach 1, only this time it's led by Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier. Now, I actually have the first edition of that comic, or the #1, of that series, but I never really actually got into it, so I don't really know the direction they took that in. But my point is, there's a lot of directions and source material and characters that you can use in making this franchise in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So I really would like to see the Thunderbolts included into the MCU, just because there is such a vast scope of things you can do with the franchise. But again, this isn't just me talking to you guys. I'd like to know what you think. Would you like to see the Thunderbolts? And if so, what incarnation of the Thunderbolts would you like to see included in the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Maybe which ways would you maybe mix and match the characters and the team? I don't know. Let me know in the comments down below. If you like what I'm doing here, show that like button some love. And as always, I will see you guys in the future.